treading into uncharted territory. Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna do a get ready with me. I've never actually put on makeup on camera, so this will be an adventure for both of us, all of us, everybody watching. And anyway, so I have a bin of makeup. Some of this is stuff that I have recently purchased via the Sephora sale. Some of it is stuff I've had for a long time and I just really enjoy playing with. I'm debating about this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. We'll figure it out. So the first time that I did this face of makeup, I had to completely wash my face and start over. It looked terrible. I have footage. I will put that in. But yeah, it was bad. Things started breaking up. So the thing that makes base and foundation a little tricky in my case is that I have a prescription sunscreen that I use for my melasma. So I don't really have a whole lot of control over the base that I start with. Like I have to start on top of this sunscreen. So we'll see what we do here. I do want a little bit of smoothing, so I'm going to use the RMS primer just over the areas where I have a little bit of texture. So it is like after 3, I just took off my watch when I'm filming this. And I just finished therapy. Even if you're not neurodivergent, therapy is a wonder. It really is. It is an absolutely magnificent way to live life. Being fully aware of your own faults, not even faults, but just the differences between your brain and other people's brains. Like it has taken me years to come to terms with the fact that my brain works really differently than my friends, my family. Turns out a lot of my friends' brain works like mine. So right now I am debating between the Danessa Yummy Skin, which I've had for a while. I love this foundation. It's absolutely beautiful. But I feel like I need to get to know this one better. This is the Fenty Eavesdrop Stick. It's really pretty, but I'm just not sure if I love the finish and the way it sits on my skin. We're gonna use this again today. And this is strange for me because normally when I film, normally when I do my makeup, I have this light on, but it casts this very, like, are you afraid of the dark? Very spooky light on my face. So yeah, therapy was good. I'm dealing with some shifts in my living situation that I cannot control. Therapist and I were, discussing ways that I can feel like I have some control and ways that I can address things without going into too much detail because, private life. It doesn't look too bad. It is kind of settling into my fine lines, but any foundation is going to do that. It's just a matter of how it takes other product. The thing I love about this, and I know other people have discussed it, but you can get the entire little nub of foundation. You can access the entire stick. Like Fenty just keeps innovating and I love it. It's, they started with 40 foundation shades and now they're taking packaging of sticks to a whole new level. Oh, there's a cardinal outside my window. Hello. Oh, my cats aren't in here. They want to, they love to stare at the window and chirp at the burb. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of brow. My brow shape is changing. I just had my brows waxed and I think she took off just a tiny bit too much from the front. It'll grow back. It's fine. But it gives me the opportunity to try new brow shapes and new methods. So this is Boy Brow from Glossier. And I open it and then I wipe off a good amount of the product on the inside. So I don't have this huge, heavy amount of product. The wand. And that's just going to give me some definition so that when I go back in with a pencil, it doesn't all look the same. This is the Givenchy Skin Caring Concealer. This is beautiful. It's really become a standout. It's one of the things that I bought the last Sephora sale that has really stood out to me. And if you did not see my video about my Sephora sale purchases from the last sale, I will link it. But yeah, therapy was good. I have been in therapy for 8 years. Beginning of January was 8 years. And I look back on who I am now and my personal boundaries and what I will and won't accept, because I am a people pleaser. I want to make people happy. I want to be able to be the person in the situation who solves everybody else's problems and gets those accolades. A lot of the times that was like at the cost of my own personal well-being, and that's just not what I'm about these days. See, I'm having some problems with how it's sitting on my cheeks. I don't know if you can tell that because of the quality of my camera, but I feel like it's already breaking up. Let's try this. Let's put on another swipe and then blend that in with the sponge. See, the thing about a stick foundation that I was excited about is you can use as little, in theory, you should be able to use as little or as much as you want. But if you have to like really build it up in order to keep it from breaking, then that defeats the purpose. I've only been able to get 1 or 2 really good makeup days out of this foundation. So I am almost legally blind in my right eye, so I have a hard time evaluating what's going on this side. So I'm just gonna match it and we'll call that good. And I will not use the blush that I used last time. I'll have to find a different blush. But I was going to use one of the new Bosma blushes, the shade Mauve. This is beautiful. It's so pretty. But I think this is too emollient to put on top of this. The last time I did it, it just broke everything apart. And I'm debating, like, do I return the blush or do I return the foundation stick? Where is the problem? Where is the lid? There it is. I have the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. This is so pretty. Now, I'm going to be hard pressed to choose a loose powder over a pressed powder almost any day of the week, except for this Givenchy powder. It's so nice. And right now I'm just taking powder off the puff. I just took the puff out of the top and there's a little bit of powder in there. That's all I need to set my brow. And yeah, I'm setting the entire thing with powder. And then I'm gonna go back and draw in with pencil. Yeah, my brows are a lot more fiddly than they used to be. And they're not anywhere even, but that's okay because that's what the pencil is for. This one is the Brow Divine from Nabla. Mine's in the shade Mercury. I think Nabla did an amazing thing with this pencil. So you've got 1 ring, which is your spoolie, 2 rings is your pencil, and the caps are the same size. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love the visual cue. I love that I don't have to fiddle to get the caps back on. I think that this system is bloody perfect. Hi, Bubs. What's up, handsome fury fellow? The brows are on the struggle bus today. That's okay. We all ride the struggle bus from time to time. It's just a matter of being patient with ourselves. I literally sound like not a beauty guru, but like a life guru. Yo, I was just looking at the Facebook before I got on camera. OJ Simpson died, and people have thoughts. Or rather, they're like, okay, for those of us millennials who remember that trial, like that was a moment in time. I remember sitting around the kitchen table with my parents and my brother, eating dinner and watching the white Bronco go down the LA freeway. Okay, let's see how this is sitting. I'm gonna actually turn on my ghost light here for a moment. I don't love the way this is sitting on my skin. I don't. I feel like it's just settling into all of my fine lines, my little bit of wrinkles under my eyes. I don't know if I love this. Maybe if you are younger than I am. I'm 41. So I have aging skin. I do take care of my skin, but not everything is meant for my skin. And I had hoped that this would be, but I don't think it is. I think this is going to go back and I'm going to find something else. I know that the hourglass stick works. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I think, let me see how the rest of the makeup turns out, but I think this is going to be a return, which makes me sad. Let's find a blush. Well, I've got 3. Nope. Is that the one I want? Yeah. All right. Well, I guess the look I had planned has kind of gone out the window, but that's fine. I'm going to use a little bit of Hope. I'm also going to do a little bit of contour. I grabbed some bronzer stuff. I'm going to do contour. I don't think this contour is available anymore, but not enough people really watch me for it to be a problem. So I'm just going to use what I got. I don't need to buy anything more. But yeah, O.J. Simpson's dead. Oh well, death happens. It comes for all of us eventually. I'm still learning how to contour my face. But I tell you, having the right products makes a big difference. Having things that are not too gray, too pigmented, having products that are very malleable. I just wanted to make sure I'd started recording because I've done that before. Let's do a little bit of, I don't think this foundation likes balm products. That may have been what broke it up. So I'm going to skip this today. I'm going to go in with a powder bronzer later. This, however, I'm going to do under my eyes right now. Oh goodness, there's a hole in that. So this is the Phytosurgence Spectral Sunlight Bronzer in the lightest shade. I use this to kind of tone down my under eyes a bit post concealer because well, let's do blush first. And then we'll do that because there's usually a temperature difference between my under eyes and my cheeks. This is Hope from Rare Beauty. It's just a very easy liquid blush that's smoothing and blurring and all of that good stuff you want from a blush. I'm going to use the same brush I used for my contour, and I always have a makeup eraser on my lap. So if you see me wiping brushes on my leg, it's on a makeup eraser. I love those things for my brushes. My face hates them. So yeah, so far I've touched on O.J. Simpson's death and therapy. Let's go back to therapy because it's, I've talked to people who I know and they know that therapy would benefit them, but they're just not willing to put in the work. And they're like, it's hard, it's time consuming. Since COVID, I have switched therapists and I've never actually been in a room with my therapist. All of our appointments are telehealth, which I both like and dislike. I used to use therapy as a chance to get out of the house because I'm disabled and I don't always have a reason to leave the house every day. Love this blush. I don't use it enough. I don't know what made me decide to grab it today. I have a quilt guild meeting tonight. I am a quilter. Genuinely love the art of quilting and the people I've met. It's just a fabulous pastime. And I recently read an article about how quilting has helped veterans with PTSD get through their nights and days free of nightmares because it does occupy both sides of the brain. It's pretty. A little bit of blush, brighten up your face. I did also pull out Latte and Olay from Finding Ferdinand, just in case this is too pink and I need something to kind of warm up my complexion. All right, where are we going from here? Let's do eyes. I have a palette here. Where's the palette? It's right here. So I have been loving this. I know it's not available anymore, but it's just a lesson that if you see something really grabs your attention, you're like, that's my colors, is affordable. I bought this for $15 post-Christmas. This is from Pat McGrath's holiday collection from 2023. And I have absolutely no regrets. None whatsoever. It is a beautiful palette. The formula is different and not in a bad way. It's a little easier to work with. So the question I have to ask myself before I do an eye look is, what do I want as far as eyeliner goes? Because I have some beautiful liners from JD Glow, which has now been rebranded as Her Artistry. So go follow them on social media. I'm excited to see what they come up with as far as products and how quickly they're able to turn that around. I have this gorgeous neon purple that I think would be a lot of fun. And then I have some multi-chrome. One of these is Shooketh, which I've had for a long time. And the other is Glamnetic, which I just got, and they very much look the same, but they're not. They're very different. I also have this brown from Kulfi that I have been loving. And I got a couple liners from Sephora. I got a couple of their cream liners. And so far, these have been beautiful. These have been really exciting. And I know the lip I'm doing is like nude basic, so I can go anywhere with it. I think, I think possibly neon purple liner for Quilt Guild tonight. But let's do this first. I did just put on a little bit of MAC Paint Pot. Just slam it on, get it on the face. I'm a big fan of Glow Up on Netflix. If you have not seen it, it's fantastic. I suggest you go watch it. And the makeup artists who judge that show are great. They're like, look, be precise, but whack it on, get it on there. Don't take 4 hours doing a job that should take you 15 minutes. You know, be precise, have confidence in your skills, and just do it. And I think that's, applicable to a lot of areas of life. Again, something I have learned in therapy. I've been loving the Ever Loving Daylights out of the Elf Lip Oil. Keep it front and center. Oh, it's hydrating, it's nourishing, and it's pretty long lasting. Like, it doesn't wear off easily. At least we have Jon Stewart back. He has just been, he's Jon Stewart. He's Jon Stewart. Like, he is a prolific mind that very much influenced my generation when we needed it the most. There's this idea that like your religion should be private and so should your politics. And my take on that is politics affects everybody, whether you acknowledge that or not. And who you vote for and the policies that you are okay with people having inflicted upon them says a lot more to me about who you are as a person than where you go to church. For me, church is performative, politics is real life. So that's where I stand. I have a little bit of eyeshadow on. Let's do a touch of powder and then bronze up and figure out what other blush I'm putting on, because I'm not sticking with one blush. That's just not who I am. I'm gonna remove the puff from the lid. Dibby dab dab dab. I do really like this powder to the point where I considered buying a second one during the sale, but I didn't. I refrained. Yeah, I think this foundation is just not my jam, which makes me sad because I really wanted it to be. But I just don't think it's meant for me. I can do a little contour of my jowls and double chin area. I got my dad's jawline. He was able to hide it with a beard. I don't have that luxury. Well, I could if I wanted to, but I don't. I will just contour. Pretend you have no nose. It's not too bad. Y'all, looking back, I'm just thinking about that O.J. Simpson. This is how my brain works. This is how my ADHD brain works. So we're going to bounce around from topic to topic. And this video is going to be a ton of fun to edit. It's going to be like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer is accused of essaying the babysitter when she really was just sitting on the gummy Venus de Milo. Leave it in the comments if you know the reference. House Labs bronzer. And then I like to use the mirrors to just smash the product into the bristles so I don't get too much and I get a nice even application. I'm gonna bronze up, but it is dreary and rainy outside. It has been all week. We got one brief respite from the rain and the dreariness for the eclipse, which was magnificent. Watching that occur, I have seen like 3 or 4 solar eclipses in my life, and every one of them just feels, it makes you feel so small. Like we have no control over the planets and their movement. And it really gives you a, what am I doing? Let me grab, let's use this. This is Pat McGrath Flirtatious. I'm gonna put this in my eye look using a fluffier brush. It just makes you feel so tiny and realize that like all of the quote problems, they don't count for a hill of beans in this big old world, you know. And we had totality in my backyard. So I was just, went outside and watched the eclipse, and then I came inside and had some dinner. It was pretty nice. Took my cat out with me. I have Mr. Loki, who I have introduced on this channel. All right, I'm going to turn on my spooky mirror. I like the way the Fenty is taking powder. It is taking powder very nicely, but I don't want to have a foundation that I can only use powder products with, because I am very much a powder and a cream girly. So I don't know how I feel about that. I am still kind of in the camp where I think I'm gonna return it. All right, Phytosurgeon's bronzer in shade 1. I have stuff all over the table in front of me, and I'm not used to doing my makeup like this, and I don't think I like it. Yeah, so it looks like we had a little bit of a crevasse break. Stiff brush, and I'm just gonna use that to tone down the blue under my eyes. You see how it just changes that temperature a bit, but it doesn't look like I'm slapping something completely out of my natural skin tone. Yeah, I like that. That works. Where are we going from here? Let's finish eyes and then do some mascara, liner. So yeah, if you'd have told me back in the 90s that we would all have computers in our pockets and we'd be able to get anywhere just with that phone, I'd have told you were crazy, but I'd be excited. I remember talking on the phone, needing to stand in the kitchen, sit on the floor in the kitchen, sit on the counter in the kitchen, raid the refrigerator in the kitchen. My parents had an extension in their bedroom, and we had one down in the kitchen. And then I seem to remember my dad had one in the basement in his office. But that was it as far as communication goes. And I remember if we needed to, quote, use the internet for a school project, we had to go to the library. We had to go to the library just to look at, just look something up online. And now I can literally do it with my home assist device, which is fantastic. It's great for putting, little disagreements to rest. Someone in your house thinks they know something. You're like, oh yeah, ask Siri, ask Alexa, do the thing. I had a friend over one night, and he had not heard the internet is for corn from Avenue Q. So I literally just I had Siri start it, and he's looking at me cracking up. Okay, I need a cool tone highlight, and I know the one I want. I just need to find it. Why are you hiding? You are beautiful. Do not hide. Do not hide your gorgeousness. Actually, I think I'm going to go over my eyes with some of this. This is from Copacetic. This is their highlighter in the shade Henna. I'm just using it on my eyes. This is not really a formula that I would use as a highlighter. It's so blinding and so crushy, but it's also like my skin tone just turned into a foil. And I like the idea of this very bright eye with this purple neon liner. Anybody put on eyeshadow with their mouth closed? I feel like every time I put on eyeshadow, I open my mouth like a fish. Remember that line from Mary Poppins about close your mouth, Michael. We are not a codfish. Random. Leave your random pop culture references down below. They're some of my the gummy Venus de Milo, benchmarks of a generation. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Yes, very pretty. Very easy. All right, and then I'm gonna use the Bare Minerals, what is this? Highlighting blush in Rose Glow. I want something a little cooler toned. New Rephr brush. I love Rephr's brushes. They're so soft and they do such a beautiful job. They're a little finicky to wash. You need to make sure all the bristles are laying straight when you're done, when you're laying them down. But you know what? That's okay. Taking care of things. We take care of our things, they take care of us. Anybody want to hear my poem that I memorized? Oh my God. I didn't sit down with anything to talk about. I was just going to put on makeup. And now I'm like, oh shit, I have to talk and be engaging. And I'm like, anybody want to hear my Jack Perletsky poem that I memorized in 4th grade? About Fred. As soon as Fred gets out of bed, his underwear goes on his head. His mother laughs, don't put it there. A head's no place for underwear. But near his ears, above his brains, is where Fred's underwear remains. At night, when Fred goes back to bed, he deftly plucks it off his head. His mother switches off the light and softly croons good night, good night. And then, for reasons no one knows, Fred's underwear goes on his toes. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna use a little of this on the inner corner. And because I have these cholesterol marks on the inside of my lid, I take the highlighter up over them and it just kind of blends everything together. For my brother's wedding last year, I was trying like full coverage concealers, color correctors. I was really trying to figure out how do I make those less noticeable. I literally just put highlighter over them and don't worry about it. I do want to reshape. I want a little more matte near the crease. So I'm going to go back in with this, the Pomegranate palette, that lightest shade, and just go over all that shine. I'm so used to taking the shine all the way up to my like past my crease because my eyes are kind of small. You can't really see what's on my lid with my eyes closed or open. So and when I do like extreme looks, I will take my eyeshadow all the way out to the corners, but not today. That's so pretty. Okay. I am going to line my eyes with the Kulfi. I'm going to go in and do a little bit of strategic powdering. Let me do that first. I get a little powder in either the lid or the sifter. This is one of my oldest brushes. This is from Flower Beauty. When BK came out with the A507, I was so excited because they're virtually the same brush. But I like this one for powder because it's a little fluffier and it's easier to control how much powder you've got as opposed to a denser brush. We're going to powder the marionette lines and the chin, labial folds on the other side of my nose. I just like to powder around my mouth because it moves so much. I feel like that little bit of powder helps kind of keep everything in place. And then the very center of my forehead, look at that. That is like mochi skin. It's soft, but it's not cakey. All right, I'm gonna do eyeliner, mascara, touch up my brows a little bit. I feel like they're a little thin, and then we'll come back. I'm gonna speed through the rest of that. I'm actually gonna put on an audiobook and kind of speed through the rest, and then we'll come back and have some thoughts. Okay, well, that went very easy. I used this liner from Kulfi, I got this in my Allure beauty box, and I am surprised at how much I love it. I actually bought another one of these that I've already returned from the Sephora sale. So that will be in my 2024 Sephora sale roundup. So stay tuned for all the details. But the long and short of it is these are beautiful, creamy liners that go onto the waterline. No complaints. I love doing a liquid line, especially with these JD Glow or now Her Artistry liners. But I don't like having a bare waterline. So I use the brown underneath, and I feel like it makes everything both blend and the color stand out. And I'm using the Gucci mascara for the first time. Like, not the first time today, but I've not used this before. I've had this mini for some time. I like the length and the separation. I just don't find I get enough volume or definition. It's pretty, but it's not one that I would pay full price for. I'm gonna do some lip liner. Let's do, I've got Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury, which is like the perfect shade for my lips. Okay. I hear people complain about not wanting to sharpen pencils. I'm like, dude, I love a freshly sharpened pencil. Now I'm just gonna go around the vermilion border, which is the little bit of skin around the lip and between the skin. It's where like the lip and the skin wrap and meet. I do really like these lip liners from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the shade Pillow Talk. This is the infamous lip liner shade Pillow Talk. But as we know by now, Pillow Talk is a fever dream. It is a shade that can be lightened or deepened depending on what you're putting it in. This is one of the Amicole lip oils in the shade Bliss. When I did my talking myself out of my shopping cart video, I decided I wasn't going to buy this. I'm so glad I swatched it in store, and my little goblin brain said, "Yeah, you need that." Now, if you are somebody who is sensitive to stuff kind of gathering in your corners, you might want to do one of those because this formula is pretty thick and can gather, especially if you're talking a lot. But my God, is that pretty. All right. I'm going to give my lashes a little just curl with my fingers. I have discovered that lash curlers are a bit too extreme for my lashes. I feel like I want to make that eyeliner thicker, but I'm not going to mess with it now. It's drying and I don't want it to. These liners are really beefy. They're really substantial and they stay put. They don't flake. They take layering beautifully. When these were first released, the formulation was really thin, and in order to get the color payoff, you had to put them over a black liner, which I just didn't want to do. Black liner does not look good on me. It makes my skin look blue. It's just not, it's not it. A little bit of Fix Plus. All right. So that is today's makeup. I am overall pleased. However, I think that this is just, it's not meant for me. It's maybe meant for somebody who has less dry skin than I do. I don't know. I'm just not as thrilled with it as I want to be. And I have a very small collection of foundations. I don't want to bring in a new one that's going to be really finicky and that I'm only going to be able to use at certain times. So I think this is sadly going to go back to the store. The Bosma blush I will have to try with something like the Yummy Skin or the other Fenty foundation before I really get my head around it. It is gorgeous. It's a little pinker than my other mauve blushes, and I like that. It's very brightening. It kind of lights up my whole face, and I really like that, but I haven't been able to play with it enough to really get an idea because I have been dealing with a finicky base. What else did I use that was new-ish? The Gucci mascara, it's fine. It'll work while I'm, going through my minis, but I don't think it's worth the full price. The Her Artistry liners, these are glorious. I hope that the new brand does bring these back because they are a standout. Givenchy powder, we love her. We're like halfway through using her up. So I'm very happy with that. The RMS primer, I think, did the job that I needed it to do today, which is kind of fill in some of those fine lines, blend the edges between, blur the edges of my melasma. The Copacetic highlighter slash eyeshadow, I love this thing. It's a great one and done. What else did I use? The Bare Minerals highlighting blush. We love it. And I think that's just about it. So thank you so much for sticking around and spending this time with me. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. If you are one of my current subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging with my content. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you are taking care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye, friends.
Oh no!